Hey y'all, thanks for stopping by. So, today I'd like to talk about the right and wrong ways to argue with people. I know this seems like a kind of broad topic, but it's something I see a lot being online all the time, just going through comment sections. You've probably seen this too, where you'll see someone make an inflammatory statement about something, and then someone will come in behind them and explain why that is wrong or incorrect information, usually with some pretty good detail. And then the response they'll get is something like cope or seethe, something like that. I don't really think that's a good way to argue. I don't think anybody thinks that's a good way to argue. People just kind of do that as a way to like dunk on people. You know, I don't really care what your opinion is on this subject. I think I'm right, so it doesn't matter. And as weird as this sounds from someone like me, if that's how you feel about stuff, fine. I could care less, to be honest. With a lot of times when people have these sort of arguments, they're just looking for engagement. Someone who will post something ridiculous that is clearly incorrect, they're only doing it to get that sort of response and, you know, eyes on their page or whatever it could be. But when it comes to this whole 1-2 word responses to these sort of arguments, you can do better. I hope you know that. If you feel the need to engage with the public or even in private with people, you should be able to defend your points. If you have, you know, people say it's a hot take or whatever, if you have a opinion that goes against the grain, you should be able to explain why you feel that way. Clearly, you should be able to explain that. I think a lot of it is just people who are unwilling to bend at all. It's a weird sort of, it almost seems like a reverse way to come about making a point. Instead of learning about a topic and then wanting to learn more about it so you can have the right answer, these are usually people who have learned about a topic and believe that they're already right. So there's no point for them to look up anything else because I'm a logical person, so what I think is already correct. These are really hard people to get through. Just being honest with you. Frankly, it's people who I normally wouldn't try to change their mind because it's usually more of a detriment to me to try and work with these people. There is no harm in trying, though, but I do understand if you don't want to do that. I said in an earlier video, there's a quote I see a lot: I wouldn't argue with people who John Brown would have shot. That's fine. That's fine. You don't have to engage with these people. If you do try and engage with someone who's making these sort of remarks, don't be surprised if you get one of those responses, one of these 1 or 2 word cope, seethe, depending on the platform you're on, ratio, whatever it is. Don't take people like that serious. If you get one of those responses after you've given somebody a detailed answer and they respond that way, it's not worth it. Don't feel like it was a waste of time if that happens to you, though, because I can guarantee you there are more people who are reading that conversation than just you and the person you replied to. There's going to be someone who read what you wrote and realized that maybe what they think is wrong. You know, your statement might change someone's mind. That is one thing that I do like about comment sections in general. You could enter it trying to change one person's mind, the person who made that ridiculous statement. But you might end up changing more minds than that person might not change at all, but 10, 12 people who go through that and read what you said, that might make them read into something a little more. So just because you can't change one moron's mind doesn't mean you can't change more than them. There's no harm in trying, but I can understand if you don't want to, because people kind of suck, and it's fine. It's fine if you don't want to deal with that. Just move on, and you'll be okay. But that's just how I feel about that. I'm sure there are people who live off of the argument. I'm sure there are some people watching this who live off of the one-word responses. However you deal with people online, it's up to you, but you don't need to feel obligated to engage, and you don't need to feel obligated to keep it going if you feel like you've been insulted. Y'all have a good day.